Hi, and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude, and my next project, the Tamiya US Halftrack 81mm mortar carrier M21. Since I have a hard enough time speaking to begin with, we are just going to call this the M21 Halftrack from here on out. The reason I'm going to do a build series on this kit is multifaceted. First of all, it is a re-release of a Tamiya kit that was first tooled in 1975. Now, not this specific kit, but the M3A2 personnel carrier, which is basically the same vehicle. It was just set up to transport troops, as opposed to this one, which was set up to transport and utilize a mortar. The original kit came out in 75. This kit, the M21, came out in 76. Then a little while later, the M16 Quad 50 anti-aircraft version came out. Now, why would somebody want to build a kit that old? Well, I'll tell you. This kit was re-released at the end of 2023. So, although it's a kit that was originally tooled in the mid-70s, it has been re-released with all fresh stuff. Now, it's exactly the same as the kit that was released in the 70s. It's just a re-release. So that means no new parts have been added, nothing new. Some of the instruction stuff and paperwork might be a little bit different, and I think it has newer decals. But for all intents and purposes, this is the same kit that came out in the mid-70s. And that is why I want to do a build series on this. I imagine that some people might see this that are just new to the hobby or haven't been around as long as some of us have been. And they're not familiar with this series of kits because they did get kind of hard to find. I think they were re-released or still available in the 80s. But then they just seemed to kind of dry up, and the only place you could find them was on eBay and stuff like that. It wasn't like you could go into a hobby store and, oh, look, a Halftrack, I'm going to buy that. So Tamiya, for whatever reason, decided to re-release this series of vehicles. And because of that, we have a kit newly released for some people based on 70s technology. So there are certain, I don't really want to call them challenges, because you could basically cut the parts off the sprues and put this thing together and have a really nice kit. But there are things about some of these older kits that could use a little more attention than a newer kit. And that's what I want to point out in this series. So I'm going to do a build from the beginning to the end, including paint, decals, figures, the whole shooting match. And I will be talking about what I'm doing along the way and why I'm doing it. And just kind of familiarize newer people, hopefully, with an older kit, because this kit does build up into a nice model, a nice representation of the Halftrack. I'm sure there's inaccuracies and there's detailed things that people will quibble about. But if somebody just wants to build a Halftrack and they don't want something that's overly complex, this is a good way to go. And it involves some, you ready for it? Basic modeling skills. A phrase that is often maligned and just sets people's teeth on edge, whatever that means. But yes, it does take some basic modeling skills. And I'm not talking about stuff that's difficult. It's just basic stuff that'll help make this into a really nice representation of the M21 Halftrack. We're not going to go page by page with the instructions. We're not going to go sprue by sprue and look at all the stuff. I'm just going to briefly touch on these items. Now, one thing to note is this kit comes with the usual tech tips. And then it comes with a warning about the hazards of catching polystyrene plastic on fire and the smoke it creates. But it also comes with English and Japanese instructions. Why is that significant? Well, most of the time nowadays, the instructions are really generic, and it relies mainly on the illustrations. And back when this kit was new, being a kit from Japan, sometimes they didn't come with English instructions. MRC, Model Rectifier Corporation, which is a company that used to be a distributor for Tamiya in the United States, I believe, they would package these kits with English or Japanese instructions. Not both together. It was an either or deal. And the thing was, is if you were willing to go with the Japanese instructions and basically not be able to read about the kit and not be able to read any of this stuff here, you could get the kit a little bit cheaper. For example, the Tamiya 1/35 scale Panther, I can't remember which Ausführung it was. It's the old one that has really wonky measurements and dimensions to it. I was able to get it for $20 with Japanese instructions as opposed to $25 for the English instructions. Now keep in mind, that was in 1979 money. So that was quite a chunk of change for a freshman in high school. So enough of that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the instructions. It's basically the fold out type, pretty basic. There are 16 steps, and there is basically one marking option. There's not a whole lot of variety of these. The difference would be the actual like vehicle numbers and markings during World War II and after World War II, because I think they use these in Korea. But it's real basic, and there's not a whole lot to choose from. You basically get the stars and vehicle number and then unit specific numbers. I'm going to be using, it just basically is painted in olive drab, and that's what I'll be doing, painting in olive drab. I will be building the kit completely out of the box, no aftermarket, any of that kind of stuff. I'm going to use the kit supplied stowage and tarps and rucksacks / haversacks, whatever. I'm just going to use everything from the kit, no aftermarket. As for the plastic, it comes in 5 bags. 4 plastic bags. So let's talk a little bit real briefly again, and this pertains to the history of the vehicle or the kit and the other versions of the Halftrack. So we've got the sprue A here, and I'm not going to take these out of the bag right now because we'll look at all these parts as we go along. Sprue A, you get the chassis and all the running gear components. You also, in this bag, get the tracks and the tires, which are made out of vinyl. Okay, and I'll get back to that in a second. Then you have sprue B, which is the cab. So you've got the sides, the engine cover, the floor, fenders, seats, the driver figure, doors, Pioneer tools, some fuel cans, and other small parts that go with the cab of the vehicle. Now, those 2 sprues there are common to all 3 of the versions of the Halftrack that Tamiya offers. These are common parts. Where you get into the differences is in sprue C, and some of the other ones might have more than sprue C. It might have a D, I don't know. But sprue C, in this case, is specific to the mortar vehicle, the mortar carrier. So it's got a bed that's set up for the mortar. It's got the tail. The rear plate is a little bit different than the personnel carrier. It's got a different bumper than the personnel carrier. This one has a winch involved, whereas the other one has the roller that's supposed to help them get through ditches and stuff like that without getting the front end stuck. The sides are different in the two kits because the other one has like a built-in rack type thing on the side. However, these racks here are probably common to all three because these are just basically storage racks that fit onto the sides, and you can put your just whatever you want in there, crew stuff, etc. But other than that, this is all stuff specific to this kit. Now this here is also specific to this kit in that it has all the stowage. It's got a roll of barbed wire, it looks like. I think it's barbed wire, it might be communication wire. According to the illustration, it looks like barbed wire. Some rucksacks. It's got the door for the back, etc. So that is the sprue or sprues, 2 in the bag, that are specific to this kit by itself. The last bag, and this will be specific to this kit, is Sprue Z. Now this one has actually got a copyright imprinted on it, engraved on it, however you want to put it, of 1976 it looks like. It's kind of hard to see through the plastic. But this includes 3 figures, the mortar, a bazooka, and crew equipment, as well as some ammo. And looks like a battery. Oh, you know what? That might be the telephone set because there is a phone handset right there. So this is specific to this kit. Now, this kit right here, I haven't looked, but I'm pretty sure this was available as a kit all by itself, just this sprue. Tamiya used to, or I think they still do, but they do like figure sets or small sets. It's a box probably about this size here, about that thick, and it will come with some figures and maybe some equipment specific to those figures. In this case, the mortar. I know they also released a small set that had, it was an Africa Corps Radio Man and tent, little small set. So they were almost like, you know, you could do a little vignette with just what comes in that little box. Or you could use it to add to a diorama in conjunction with other vehicles or whatever. But in this case, it is thrown in to this vehicle and gives us the mortar part and crew that goes along with it. So that's all the plastic. Then we have the decals, very simple set of decals, just stars and vehicle markings. This is labeled 135th U.S. Halftrack 81mm mortar carrier M21, copyright 2001. So I don't know if Sprue missed something on their timeline, but there is nothing on the timeline from that time period. We basically have the new tool in 75. We had a new box sometime after that, and we had another new box sometime after that. Then we had this particular kit, the M21, released in 76. Then shortly thereafter, in between 76 and 80 something, the M16 with the quad 50 in the back was released. And then naturally we have the 2023 re-release of the kit. So this 2001, I'm not sure how that fits in because it's not on the timeline. Now, I'm not saying the timeline is 100% accurate, but generally they seem to be pretty good. But anyway, that's just a little weird thing I thought I would mention. And there you go. That is the box. So hopefully you enjoyed this look at this kit and my preview and intro into the upcoming video series about it. Hope you'll stick around and watch more of it. If you have any experience with this kit, I'd like to hear about it, what you thought of the kit, in the comments section down below. If not, well, stick around. Let's see what happens. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching Plastic Models by Regular Dude and part 1 intro of the M21 Halftrack by Tamiya. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I will see you all later.